Trendsetter.
What up? You know what it is, man. Your boy TrendsetterSense, Rhythm and Streets, back at it again. I got my brother, one of my day ones. We started with, he used to book me, and when he was throwing parties, now he's an established music executive, businessman. He does a lot of things. He represents the city of Atlanta to the fullest, man. My brother, Prince Howard, man.
What's going on, my brother? It's good to be here.
Yes, man. Thank you so much.
Yes,
man.
yes,
Oh,
definitely.
man. Yeah, you here, man. Rhythm and Streets.
We here. 2024.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
Let's start off with it, man. I was talking about, how I used to DJ for you back when you was throwing a party.
Crazy.
Start off the evolution of Prince Howard, man, because you started off party throwing, right?
Well, actually, you know what? It's crazy because I really wasn't.
Okay.
I didn't start off doing that.
Yeah.
My partner Ryan Adams.
Well, that's how we connected.
Yeah, that's how we connected.
Yeah.
So from that point, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I really wasn't party throwing. What happened was my client Ryan Adams, I call him Sweet. He was my partner, and we're friends and partners to this day. But he was my client, and I was his financial advisor.
Right. Yeah.
Which is crazy, because I was a financial consultant in the financial arena.
Yeah.
When I got in music, I was an investor.
Right.
So he was like, Prince, I got his partners, Ice, Slim. We all from Atlanta, from the West Side. They went to Doug, I went to Harper.
Right.
So we had that connection, and he was like, bro, I'm doing this Thursday night thing, college night.
Right.
It was a spot called the Library. Everybody know the Library right there on Marietta Street, which later turned into Uptown Comedy Club.
Right.
So he said, man, put some money into this. We're gonna do this night. And he was already moving with the night, so I just came in and put my money in. And basically, I would show up every now and then. And on the nights that I was in town, because I was living in Montgomery, Alabama at the time.
All right.
And I was coming back and forth to Atlanta.
Okay.
And so, when I came in the music game, I didn't own no jeans. So everybody knew me for wearing suits and slacks or sports code.
Yeah.
Nobody ever knew. So when I come to the spot, I stood out like a sore thumb, because we had, we had D4L in there, Jeezy. Everybody in Atlanta came on that college night, and that was what jumped a lot of guys off and kept them hot in the streets, was that college night. I got people that I don't even know. Bro, that college night was crazy.
No, that night, it was crazy.
And, the Long Island iced tea with the pitcher, We were busing people back and forth from the AU Center, which was legendary, because nobody was getting it drunk and running.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much how that kind of started. And I remember the night that I met you, you out having the flyers, because you were promoting as well as DJing.
That's
so
funny.
I was like, who is this guy? He's doing everything.
Right.
And you were like, hey, bro, are we getting our check tonight? You getting paid? And I was like, yeah, you ain't got paid yet?
That's funny.
So I went to the girl, and that's how we just connected. And, a lot of people don't know, Atlanta is the Mesopotamia of anything hip-hop, like, as far as this region. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And these ideas, you had Kenny Burns doing what he was doing with the bigger clubs, but we also had these places like Library and other places that the Club Excess and all these other places that provided the fire to keep this hip hop industry in the South in Atlanta going.
Yeah. So talk about it, man, because you're talking about you were the investor in the wealth management. Like, what was the evolution of that for Prince Howard?
It was crazy. It's a crazy story. My story is definitely different, which is, I left college my third year. Okay. Basically, I flunked out. I failed out of college, but I was on academic suspension.
Okay.
So when I came home, my mom and dad were like, bruh, we are not giving you nothing. You're getting zero. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Wake up call. So I ended up getting a few jobs. Then I ended up getting married at 22. So I was working at a paint store as assistant manager, like paint. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. That's crazy.
I answered
Like Ace.
like Ace, ICI Deluxe. You know what I'm saying? That type time.
Yeah.
So there was a ad in the paper, and I was reading the paper, sitting up there waiting for after a client had left, and the ad was, you can make $70,000 a year and be an insurance agent, and the company was Aflac, the duck company.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, this sounds amazing. So I called, and I ended up getting my insurance license, and from that point, that's the evolution and start of me in wealth management, was with Aflac Insurance.
Wow.
Doing company benefits.
Wow.
And I went on from there. A guy named Carl Johnson took me under his wing, taught me about wealth management, about insurance, investing through insurance, 401k plans. He put me in charge of a few of his big accounts. And that's how I started.
So when did the transition where you started getting involved into the music game? Well, I know about the parties.
Yeah.
But you know, you started managing artists.
Right.
You I mean, for those that don't know, this man is the plug. You want to get some deals done, especially in the publishing arena.
Right.
You holler at this man right here. He's always been very instrumental in that. So I just, you know, I just want to, provide the platform of how somebody is able to develop, these resources.
Yeah. And the thing about it is what ended up happening. So a lot of people know and don't know, I served in the military for 13 years in the Army. So I had this sergeant, while I was a financial, consultant. He came to me because I was in the National Guard and Reserve. So we drilled once a month. It wasn't full time, but every month we went on the weekend. So came up to me, said, Prince, I think, I know you're looking for some opportunities outside of what you're doing. I got a brother that's managing this artist in Australia.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm like, Australia? What am I going to do with something in Australia?
Right.
So he said, the kid is like the top R&B artist in Australia. He's signed to Sony. He's looking to come to America and get a deal. And I was like, well, I don't know anything about music business like that, but he's put me on the phone with him. They sent me his package. This is a full package from Sony with his videos. I mean, he had 3 or 4 #1 singles, a gold album. I'm like, okay, this is some good to invest in. Let me see about it. So we flew him here to America, to here to U.S., to Atlanta, and we got in the studio. The first producer I worked with off the plane with this kid was James Groove Chambers, who did Nappy Roots. He did All Nah and dang near the whole album, at least 14 tracks.
Right.
So we were at Tree Sound.
Right.
And we stayed there for 3-4 months recording.
Wow.
And from there, I met Tariq Khan, good friend, good brother, Pest, they call him Pest. He started out with Lil Jon and with Vince Phillips and the whole crew over there, Emperor Cersei. And he was like, I want to help you.
Okay.
So he started just plugging me with every major producer. I mean, Manuel Seal. Oh man, the list goes on. Drummer Boy had just moved here, and he was trying to get his production off on the R&B side. And so they saw this kid's profile, and they were like, "We want to be involved." We started just working with a whole bunch of people. Rio and Jamal. Man, the list goes on and on. Storm, songwriter who signed to EMI Publishing, came and worked with us. So I came from an aspect where I was cutting checks.
From the wealth management side.
Well, from me, from the investor side.
Okay.
To these people who were working with my clients.
Okay.
With my client.
Now, what clients are you talking about in particular?
We're talking about Selwyn, the artist from Australia.
Yeah, okay. All right.
So they seeing me in there. I'm in a suit because I didn't have any hip-hop gear. I didn't have the starter kit. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't wearing. So I was looking kind of, I stood out like a sore thumb.
Right.
So, they were like, well, who is this dude? So the artist, Selwyn, was like, that's the investor. That's the guy that has me in here. And he had a manager. So he was like, "This is the guy who's brought me out. That's
Okay.
that's why I'm here."
Okay.
They like, "What? How old are you?" Because then I mean, I probably looked like I was probably 18 years old. I was 24, 25.
That's funny.
So they were like, "Wait, hold up. You doing this? You doing that? You driving the S500, whatever? Who are you?"
Right.
So that's when my business acumen, I was telling them what I did, and that's where the connection with the producers and the songwriters started.
Okay.
Because they wanted to know what I knew.
Right.
From a business aspect.
Okay. All right.
As they were doing these deals and getting this money. Because, you know, in music, your life changes overnight. You know, you could go from sleeping in your car to having $2 million check. I mean, Tim Kelly told me that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
and we're going to dive into that brother too.
Yeah. So it's like, wow. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, so what are y'all spending y'all money on? Well, we just bought a new car. You know, we got this house we leasing. So I'm telling them, look, you need to do this, that, and other. And so that's where it started.
Break down like some of the things, like, you know, coming from the mind that you have and the business acumen that you have. Like when you say like, well, you need to start putting your money into certain things. Kind of break it down for those that don't know.
Well, you know, I say the basic parts of financial planning is taking care of your health.
Okay.
If something happens to you,
something that is vastly ignored.
Yeah. And the way the music industry is, you up all types of night recording. You're not getting enough rest. You're probably not eating well because you're eating 2 and 3 burgers. You know what I'm saying? Doing all this stuff. So you have to protect you as a entity. Every client and every person that makes money is an entity. So I say, do you have health insurance? No. What? You out here doing all without no health insurance?
Right.
You know, so I think you have to do the building blocks: health insurance, life insurance, then savings, investments, mutual funds. You know what I'm saying? Investing in life insurance for the purposes of loaning yourself money. You know what I'm saying? Because it's tax-free. Protecting your assets, doing a trust. These are the things that I was talking to them about.
Okay.
Making sure you have a business bank account separate from your personal, not intermingling business with personal. You know what I'm saying? Making sure that you have what you need. So just in case something happens, your family and you are taken care of. So those were the basic things that I started talking. They had never heard this or they weren't, you know, nobody was talking to them about it. You may have an attorney, but they're not talking to you about that. They're talking to you about closing this deal. So that became interesting.
Right.
And the word kind of spread from one person to another. Then my boy Ryan was a client. He had life insurance and different things that we talked about that we provided for him. So it was like, it just started going like that. And so I stepped in the management role with him. Right. And that's where from a financial consultant to a manager.
Okay, stop right there because I wanted to focus on the one part where you came from the investor side, the corporate side, right? Can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you gained a relationship based upon you getting that call. Somebody saw that you wanted to have opportunities, but you provided value, from the knowledge and the resources that you had within this group.
Right.
So that's what was what separated you. And now, so can you kind of like I just want to, just for people that don't know, like, just talking about providing value within a group.
I was always taught, my mom and dad, my family were all entrepreneurs. I come from an entrepreneur family, the Howard family out of Montgomery, Alabama. They never worked for a white man or worked for a corporate environment for anybody. Right. And so my mom and dad were pastors, ministers, bishop. My dad was a bishop. And they ran their own ship. He worked a job, but he ran his own ship. Right. So they always taught us, don't never come to the table with nothing to offer, looking to gain. Always bring your gifts and abilities to the table so that you can, support the collective. Because everything's a team effort. There's no I'm here because I worked with one or two people, or I had advice, or I listened to a mentor and they told me something and I went and did it. So coming to the table with gifts and abilities increases your value. It increases your value because guess what? You have knowledge that somebody else doesn't have, but also you are looking to give the knowledge to the person that needs it and that's willing to accept it. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is about. Because in the music industry, there's been a lot of knowledge that hasn't been garnered. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's just be real.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that people do not understand, not because they don't just understand, it's because they haven't sought it out and they don't have somebody telling them and giving it to them.
Wow. Prince, let me ask you, man. So how do we identify a solution? I mean, you broke it down.
Right.
Have you given that any thought?
Solutions. I have. You know, me working in the area of music publishing, I see a lot of, you know, people who don't understand. I see a lot of things that are not really put together, so it's broken down easily. You see what I'm saying? And what I learned from financial consulting and planning, I had a partner that I worked with. He had an MBA, smart as a whip, very intelligent, knew all of the specific numbers and how they worked and long-term goals and all of that. I studied him. He never closed any of the deals that he set in front of his people and gave the knowledge to.
Wow.
He rarely closed them, the big ones.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
I, myself, came in and I outperformed him. My head came to me, he said, Prince, can you help him, you know, close some of these deals? And I was like, of course. And so I went with him on a couple appointments.
Okay.
And I realized he was over-stimulating his clients with information instead of breaking it down to a point that they could understand, because people want cause and effect and result, right?
Right.
So I did my presentation. He came with me to an appointment. I broke it down, insurance. I said, look, 30 years from now, this is where you need to be. This is how much you need to put in it. This is what it's going to protect. And the client said, okay, let me talk to my wife. Talked to her wife. I said, well, let's bring her in. We talked to her, closed the deal, was out the door. Mind you, I didn't go through charts, graphs, or anything.
Okay.
So what I found in music, as I'm doing publishing, in music publishing, is breaking it down to the simplest form.
Yeah.
This is what percentage you need to get. This is what it turns into monetarily wise. This is what this does for you 30 years from now. This is your retirement. This is why this is important. Without it, the music industry doesn't exist outside of master ownership, which is the labels.
Right.
So you pay to play, or you use your intellectual property, which is producing and songwriting.
Okay. So you basically you visualize the music business in a business form.
Exactly. That's all it is. When I came in, I was wondering why people were broke. And I said, where's the money? Where is the money? And as I studied it while I was making my wins, I said, oh, music publishing. Record label. Paying to put the artists out. Marketing. They're paying to ownership in the intellectual property. Oh, this is where the money is. Then I sat and studied up underneath a man named Bruce Ruffin out of London, England. He was an artist who became an attorney and an expert in publishing. He lived here in the U.S. I stayed with him for 3 months. He taught me everything there is to know about publishing.
I was going to ask you that. How you got your expertise in the publishing game.
And then I myself studied as well. I started looking up. I started looking up deals. I started, in the management arena of managing producers and songwriters. I started looking at their deals, how it worked, what percentages, why didn't he get this, what he was supposed to get. So I started studying myself in an actual on-the-job training. Because one thing about it is, what prepares you for the music industry is what you've done before the music industry.
Okay.
So I was in financial planning, and then I was in the military, and I had my own shop, my own business, my own financial plan consulting company. So I was prepared for what this was gonna bring. I didn't care how wild it was gonna be. And that's why my expertise and what I brought to the table was so important.
Ah, got you.
Especially with my first client, Ryan Adams.
Okay.
That was my first introduction and success in music.
Wow.
We did the D4L album.
Right.
They produced 2 or 3 records on there. I made sure they got their advance. I got them an attorney. I didn't know everything, but I know business.
Right.
I know what you need to be successful.
Yeah, black and white. 1 + 1 = 2.
Oh, you need to get an attorney. We need to make sure these splits right. Bam, he's doing well to this day. And it's a gold album, my first plat.
Right, that's crazy.
As a manager. So,
and this was your transition in the management.
That was the transition. My very first transition, very first client, and Kool Ace, who's an Atlanta legend, was his production partner. So I managed them for that project.
Right. Of course, Prince Howard is here, Rhythm and Streets. We breaking down how Prince has taken his business expertise and simplified it in the music world, because a lot of creatives it's actually not as difficult as it may seem, but you will be presented with situations that may be confusing.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
If you don't have the proper knowledge,
right?
And then that's how you were able to make your name for yourself. And then now from that point, that's when you started getting a lot of opportunities with working with different. Break that down for me.
Well, from that experience working with Ryan and Kool Ace, and the success that the project had, of course, and how it changed hip hop as a brought back the fun to hip hop. I guess waves went out, because I was around Shawty Low and everybody, Born Immaculate, K-Rap just called me the other day, some of the producers.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening is, people start talking, okay,
got you.
This guy, his business, this little young guy did this, and then, Ryan would talk to other people, and then, from there, and then I start going out,
Yeah.
And, my grandmother always said, if you don't toot your horn a little bit, your horn won't be tooted. So, I did this and that, or whatever people ask me. And then I start managing producers.
Right.
And start, and with Ryan, we went into the artist thing with Lil Corey. We did the Say Yes record, which is like this cult R&B record that, I think it's platinum now.
Yeah,
it was golden, but and we went into the production, company side, and I started learning with Lil Corey what artist development, and in session studio, listening for records and hits, and I wanted to gain as much experience about what I was doing and be proficient as possible.
Okay.
So there was a phase where I was partnering and learning at the same time.
Got you.
So I want to learn A&R. I want to learn what A&R administration is and what they do in terms of making sure all of the paperwork and splits are right.
Right.
Then from my attorneys, I learned contracts, because I was paying for these contracts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? With, different projects. And so, and then that's how you build a music. Because one thing I learned about, and I preface and go back to things like the military, because we had to be a Swiss Army knife. So we had to know what our battle buddy's job was. Because if he failed, somebody has to come in and fill the slack.
Got you.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so for me, I wanted to make sure that I was proficient in every area of the music industry. And I wanted to do it on my own terms. I didn't want to go into a building and work for anybody because I was independent. I was an entrepreneur. I was taught entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
My family was that.
Right.
So I wanted to do that in the music industry.
Right.
And so that's what I did. I learned everything. I started managing producers, helping them with their agreements, start making sure that they were proficient in investments and teaching them what I knew to help them. And then that's what we got now.
Right.
And then I segued into publishing 7 years ago, full time.
Talk to me about Pacific Music Publishing.
Okay. Pacific Music Publishing is a brainchild that was brought to light probably last year.
Okay.
And me, I'm the type of person that when I learn all that I can gain, I strike out in the entrepreneurial spirit and say, I'm going to start this. So Pacific Music Publishing is a publishing company, publishing administration company. And I'm looking to teach, sign, and put people in situations that make sense.
Okay.
And be a publishing company that would be able to service them and help them, assist them in procuring other situations as far as work with other artists, other labels, producing, writing for other, people. Really what I want to model it kind of like a Hitco was with L.A. Reid.
Yeah.
So a full service independent publisher, and then being able to add financial literacy, and then add publishing knowledge, so that you know what it is and what you're looking at and why the deal says this. So I want to be a full service situation. So right now we're going into the funding part of it, because when I launch something and I put something together, I want it done well.
Right.
I want it done where there's no questions asked.
Right.
So I launched it. I'm letting people know it's coming, and we're in the funding phase within the next 3 months.
Right.
And so I'm looking to launch probably before the summer.
Okay.
Where we're signing, where you see I sign this person, that person.
Right.
And, I want to give people deals that make sense.
Right.
And with me being in the system now for 7 years, 8 years, and being successful in it, now I know what all it takes.
Right. Break down, like you've been instrumental in a lot of deals that, when you're talking about people behind the scenes, like, even though like I see you all the time,
Right.
But these are some of the people as a creative, like, you need to know a gentleman like this guy right here. He's well known already. We just promoting it a little bit more.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So
Right.
like break down like some of the, every time I'm talking to you, you're working on a deal.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I just want to give people the history,
Right.
the Prince Howard history.
Right. So I started out with Manacor, independent publisher who had a partnership with Cobart. Big ups to Troy Taylor and Bobby Stewart. I flew to Chicago, I think that was in 2016, 17. And I was there working on some other business. And I went to a studio and Bobby Stewart was in there. And his guy, DeShaney. And I was listening to some artist stuff, and they were sitting there and they were quiet. And so we talked. And he was like, "Where you from?" I was like, "I'm Atlanta. I'm from the ATL." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, okay. We just started this publishing company. And we just got this partnership, and we looking to do deals.
Wow.
And sign some producers." And so basically, I was already managing some producers here in Atlanta, and I was like, "I may have a producer for you."
Yeah.
And so I made the call right then. The producer picked up. I put him on the phone with him, with the client, and they didn't end up doing the deal. But what I gained from that was that, okay, this is where I want to be. So I told him, we start meeting while I was there in Chicago, and I said, "Look, I'd like to be a part of this. I'm going to fly back to Atlanta, and then we're gonna get started. I'm gonna get a few deals in. And so when I came back, the first signee that I did was this producer named Tiggy, who did a couple records on the American Teen album.
Okay.
Khalid.
Okay.
Album.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, this is cool. Then the second deal, I was working with Stupid Beats.
Okay, yeah.
Who did Wi-Fi and Lucci, a bunch of stuff.
Right.
And dope producer, talented from Atlanta.
Right.
Tiggy was from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I did a deal, and these were their first deals, first pub deals.
Yeah.
And so basically, we pioneered the term deal. 3-year term, no MDRC. If you want to know what an MDRC, minimum delivery requirement. That's what that means.
Okay.
Most pub deals before 2017-18 had MDRCs in it. That means you had to meet the delivery requirement. That means to deliver a certain amount of records to the publishing company at a certain percentage that you had to have in that record. And that record had to be on one of the 4 major labels, Warner, Sony, one of the big 4, Interscope, one of those labels, for it to count towards your deal.
Okay.
Now, that's why people were in deals for 20 years. Because if you got 50% and you have to provide 50% on a record, most records now are being produced by 4 or 5 producers.
Right.
So to reach that 50% and you got 5 records to turn in, now that could turn into 15 or 20 placements.
Wow. Okay.
So we pioneered where you didn't have to do that.
Okay.
We gave you all your money up front, 3-year deal, and you good. You recoup. So when I start saying that, people were like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to do it.
Yeah.
Yes, because we already knew that before that's what the industry, the publishing industry was doing.
All right.
So that's why I started.
Okay.
And I was very successful. We did.
I remember when you were over there. Yeah.
I can't even count how many deals, but we did well. And from there, I started consulting and helping other producers with their deals.
Got you, yeah.
M. Jeezy was one of my clients who did the big record on YK Osiris. He didn't know that you could do, he had a whole catalog of records. I said, we can just do a deal on this one record. So I did a deal on one record. He was like, what? You did a co-pub on one record? Said, yeah, you can do that.
That's crazy. See, these are things that people may not know.
These are free gems that I'm dropping right now. So he was excited. You know what I'm saying? And we still talk to this day.
Yeah, that's
I wasn't his manager,
right?
But I helped him in a part of his career that he needed guidance, and needed to know what the best deal to do and where to go. And so I had these relationships with, with these publishers,
right.
And these relationships came as a collective with my boy Vincent Searcy, who's another quiet giant in the publishing game, and Walt Sutton, who's another giant. We worked together, and probably about 60% of the deals in Atlanta came through either 3 of us.
Wow, that's crazy.
Or maybe higher.
Wow.
At one point in time.
Wow.
So we were helping the creatives get in position, because Atlanta's always been seen as a creative scene, but it was also a business hub.
Right.
Okay. We had LaFace, we had So Def, we had Outkast, we had Organized, we had real business here. And so now my thing is to bring it back.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Bring this back. And so with the publishing thing, that's where I started. And then I went on to run Made in Memphis publishing division for 2 years.
Okay.
Which is Tony Alexander and David Porter head up Made in Memphis. So I did that for 2 years and helped build their division from the start.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, my deals were some of the first deals they did under their publishing division.
Wow.
And then they brought me on as director A&R.
Okay. That's providing that value once again.
Value. and I tell people, sometimes people don't see the value. You have to put yourself in position and tell them what your value is by showing them what you can do. Because a lot of people expect things to just happen. Because I'm doing it, you should pick me. Nah, I closed 5 deals, and I said, who's running your publishing division? Who's working that area for you? I went to Memphis, sat down, and they hired me. Like, they flew me into Memphis a month later and hired me that month.
Wow. So what do? You like analyze? You'll analyze the situation?
I analyze the situation. I bring in the deal. I bring in deals of value that I know, because they're a starting company. So they need value. And then I manage what they already have, because some of those producers moved over from their admin side.
Okay.
So, and then I helped establish the administration side, the collection side, which is one of the most important parts of publishing. I tell everybody, in addition to a publisher partnering with you on the co-publishing side, collecting your money is very important, especially if you have an advance, because you want to knock that money down so that you can move on and get some more money.
Right.
So if they not collecting, guess what? You stuck. You still in the same position. So that was one of the most important things that I was a proponent of in their situation, which now they're flying colors after I left, you know.
Yeah.
And during the time we built up.
Wow. That's crazy. Leading up to where we are here today, Prince Howard.
Right.
What we doing?
Today, I'm getting ready. We have this company called Royalty Genius. I'm the president of it. Minority owner, my business managers, Robert Young, and Horace kind of was like, look, you're the most qualified person to do this based upon your background. The founder, Josh, was doing some other business. So they said, we want to revitalize this. It's been in operation for 3 years. And basically, we collect royalties for producers, songwriters, and neighboring rights all over the world.
Okay.
So we're in the phase of capitalization, which we're almost finished with that. The next month, we're going to relaunch. And it's going to be subscription-based.
Yeah.
And so what it's going to be able to do is creatives can subscribe to us. We go find the money, and then based upon what level they are in the tier, they can, be able to, we get the money and we get our percentage and move on. But what it does, it establishes a client before they actually go and get a pub deal to know that there's money coming in to increase value.
And then on the management side,
Yes.
I know you worked with Lyrica Anderson,
Yeah.
To name a few. Dive into that side with Prince Howard.
Management is different from my executive side.
Yeah.
So management is more personal. It's more, you're providing the value of making sure deals are right, making sure people are, your clients are getting what they're supposed to get. We're counselors, we're personal, you know what I'm saying? So with that, we got, I got Cassius J, who just came off of the Trap Jazz documentary with Hulu, which was very successful. We were up for Grammy consideration. We had some tough competition, but I'm proud of the guys, Stix Taylor and Chris Moten. It's an excellent documentary. Then we have, I have Jay Beats. He just came off of Nicki's album. Nicki Hendrix was the song he did on there, so we offer #1 album.
Yeah.
Manny IL, Emmanuel the Prophet, he's producing him. He did Key Glock. He has City Girls. He's actually in Paris right now, and we're getting his deal finished and getting it renegotiated. He's over at Sony ATV. Then I'm working with King Los, talented, one of the most talented lyricists and songwriters that I know in the game, and he's behind a lot of stuff. He just did the Love album. He's doing French Montana himself. He's working on his own project. And, I'm just excited about managing. Autumn Marini, artist.
Yeah.
She's dope. She's getting ready for her next level right now. Austin Tolliver is my country music artist. He's at 80 million streams independently. We built him up 4 years.
Wow.
To where he's at. He's getting ready for his major deal. So I'm on the artist side. I'm looking at making stars too.
Right.
And I'm A&R and I'm picking records.
Right.
And involved in the process.
Yeah.
And the one thing about what I do is your ear has to be great. So, you know, my background in church and singing in church and all that stuff, and my mom singing, you know, it's provided me with the opportunity to display my talent for picking records.
Right,
and
right.
being involved in the process that way.
Yeah.
So that's the management side.
Yeah.
And there's more opportunities that are coming that I'm interested in.
Okay.
That are hitting, that's knocking on the door. This other big time rapper out of Canada, French, 3M's, Money Making Mollies. They just did they did Rolling Loud, Toronto, killed it. They had 117 million streams independently, so they're looking to come to the States. They'll be here this week.
Okay.
So I'm getting ready to organize them for a deal and releasing their independent project and run them around the city. So there's different stages of things that I do, but they all lead to one thing, and that's closing the deal.
Right. At the end of the day.
That's the end of the day.
Yeah. And there's I don't know if you're allowed to talk about it or anything, but you have some label stuff.
Yeah, I'm working with Tim Kelly from Tim and Bob. It's my partner. Big ups to Tim. I learned a lot of things in my friendship and my business relationship with Tim. As most people don't know, behind the scenes, I'm very adamant about getting things done and injustices, and no, it can't happen this way, and no, what you need me to do is time to go. We need to get these attorneys. You know, I'm that type of person.
Right.
So at times I have to have people around me to be like, Prince, nah, let's calm down. Even though I don't act on it, I'm just saying that's part of my personality because I come from a family that was involved in the civil rights movement. And my grandmother and my aunts fought just for us to sit at countertops. And,
right.
You know, they were in the movement, and that filtered to me. And my mom marched, and my whole family was involved in the bus boycott of 1955. And so my cousins. So injustice and all of that filters over into my business. So with Tim, I'll be talking to him like, nah, we need to do that. Like, Prince, we just need to chill. And it's going to work itself out and all this. But Tim is one of the dope, if you don't know, Tim and Bob, producers, R&B, pop, they've been behind some of the biggest artists and records of our time.
Right.
Found and A&R and executives too, which is another part
Look it
that
up.
people
Google
don't
it.
know.
Yeah.
He found Nelly Furtado. You know,
crazy.
He did her first single, I think, was "Birds in the Sky," one of those records.
Yeah.
But he's getting ready to embark on a big situation that I can't speak on, but it's about to happen.
Right.
And his label, you know, glad to be a part of it, working with him closely. And I'm just excited about the opportunity to be able to show my skills on a bigger, larger platform.
Right.
Because one thing about it is I never wanted to be on a platform that I wasn't worthy of.
Got you. Yeah.
I want to build my resume and get it out from the mud and work hard and say nobody can say he just was blessed and somebody gave it to him.
Right.
Nah, he worked hard. He did this. He did that. He worked and got this client this and got him out of that and moved it. So that's why I'm excited now for the opportunity to move and get that popping.
I love it, man. Prince Howard. Let them know your social medias, where they can find you, man, where they can holler at you.
Look, I'm on Instagram, publisher_guru. My website, Pacific Music Publishing, ltd.com. I have a consulting company, topvalleybusinessconsulting.com, and royaltygenius.com as well. And we're about to revamp that website. So just look out for me in all ways. If you need to email me, you know, DM me. I do respond, and I've been consulting and helping independents my whole career. So nothing's gonna stop.
My brother Prince Howard. We're gonna have you back too, man, because I love how we inform and educate people on things to come, man. So
that's it.
Appreciate you.
Man, appreciate you, brother.
Salute you, man. You see what it is. Prince Howard, TrendsetterSense, and this is Rhythm and Streets.
Trendsetter.